Hi, BookTube. Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and it's time for another bookish literary ramblings. I don't know why I keep trying because every time I try to do a thumbnail, I don't do it right apparently because it just never. Sometimes they show up and sometimes they don't. I just don't know if maybe I should wait till the end when I'm done talking and then do the thumbnail. I think that's how most people do it, but I don't. I don't know. Because by the end of it, by the end of filming, I've talked so much that I just want to end it. I mean, I love doing this. I love talking, on a camera to you guys. But, I talk so much and ramble so much that I just get, after a while, just like tired. The good news I'm doing this now in the morning where I'm like alert and awake. Like if I do this in the evening, then by the end of the day I'm starting to feel drained and tired, and it's just that like my work schedule is like all over the place, so I don't know when I'm gonna work. I mean, that's why my videos are so sporadic. Which I think I told you guys that in the past, in the beginning when I first started doing this, or at least in 2017, I kept mentioning that because it's true. It's still that way. Which, that reminds me, I need to change my schedule because, they're once again scheduled me. Now, they once again scheduled me to come in at 7, and I think part of the problem is I said I was available from 7 to 8 in the evening, and I don't like doing that because, getting there at work by 7. I'm just not. It's just too much of a hassle, and it's not, I mean, maybe if it was just me, I would still put up with it and do it because it's just me, but I'm relying on my parents to drive me to work since I cannot drive, so they have to take me in, and they're retired. Although they both still work, but they're at the retirement age, and they don't work as my mom's is doing part-time nursing. She's always been a nurse, and that, I mean, she wasn't going to change that job, but she's now only part-time and only, will have 8 days in a row off, and only works 2 days a week. And then my dad works at the golf course, because it makes it cheaper for him to play and cheaper for him to bring a guest. Like, I think it's like $5 for him to play himself, just to, just if he wants to play it by himself. But if he's inviting a guest, then it's like 35 or something. I don't know the exact price, but working for them allows it to be a lot cheaper because it costs a lot to be part of a country club. But I mean, this is not a ritzy country club, it's Pinehurst. It's very down to earth kind of, but still, it still costs a lot of money, I mean, you're getting a lot out of this, and a lot out of joining this group of people because there's a pool there. There's golfing. Golfing is can be an expensive hobby. There's like dining and little shopping and just so it's pretty. You're getting a lot for your buck with when you join like a club like this. But it's not like a gated community or anything. It's not like anything super fancy. It's, But anyway, so I got some good news. I am very excited to announce that I am finally getting my bookshelf and a new chair because I'm not too crazy about this chair. And I've come to realize that as cool as the Papasan chair is that I have, it's a hassle to get in and out of. We don't have any ties for the cushion, so the cushion moves a lot. So the cushion part can easily be fixed, but the discomfort of the hassle of getting in and out of that chair is kind of annoying. And I find myself not, I mean, I use it because I have it, and I feel bad because I spent the money and bought it, and I was all excited to have it. I mean, I've had it for a good 2 years. But it's just, I want one that's this kind of, still like an armchair like this, but a little less cushion, and I don't want it to be a recliner chair, because the only way you can get comfortable is if you pull out the recliner, and I don't do that much. So, it would just be easier if I get a chair that with the detached footrest, and then that way I can still sit up in the chair and not feel uncomfortable like when I do this, because like, or I mean, it's not terrible, but I just want a new, and plus I don't like the color. I mean, I always wanted a different color. So my mom was finally decided, we'll get you a new chair, and then on top of that, I'm getting a new bookshelf. Although my dad's gonna build that one because he's good with, crafty stuff, like building stuff. And it's also, and my dad's one of those people that I know a lot of men, I believe a lot of guys are like this, where during the winter time, they just get kind of sad, and I feel bad for. I don't like using the word depressed because although my dad is not like as bad as some people are, but he does get kind of sad and lonely easily, and so it's like, he's not depressed. He doesn't get depression. I mean, I don't know, maybe he does consider himself as getting depression, but it's just around winter time that he gets really sad. And I know I've heard other men get that way too, and I think it's because men, a lot of times stereotypically, they are outdoors people, and my dad's also a social butterfly. He socializes a lot. And, during the winter time, especially right now during this pandemic where, they were required to stay inside a lot more because it's safer. And you don't have to risk, despite what some deludoids think, where they're like, oh, it's not real. Like, I seriously at work had this older gentleman was like, and he wore a mask. He was wearing a mask, so to be fair. But he was approaching because now, I'm sanitizing the carts now on a regular, all my shifts except for a couple every so often they have had me just stay inside. But most of the times since this whole pandemic started, I've been sanitizing the carts. And so I'll be out in the lobby and wiping them down. And unfortunately now we're supposed to keep track of how many people, because they want to limit the capacity of how many people come in the store. Although I don't think we're going to be as bad. I don't think we have to worry about it, because there's no way we'll get over 800 people to come into our store, because people come in and out all the time anyway. It's a grocery store. People will stay maybe an hour at the most. Although unless we do have a bar. We do have a bar in there, so so people might stay longer, or they might just stay while their husbands might sit at the bar while husbands and kids might sit at the bar while the wife goes shopping, gets her groceries for the day. Although, like I said, they've had trivia there before. They used to have trivia. They would have trivia there and stuff. But of course that hasn't been going on because, again, the pandemic. But anyway, so this guy, like, when he was leaving, he was like, and like I said, he did have a mask on, but he was like, approached me, he was like, yeah, but you and I both know it's not real. It's like, and he was referring to the pandemic, and it's like, or the virus, I should say, and he was like, and I didn't know how to respond. That's the second time recently and that was the second time that something awkward like that has happened, where someone said something to me that made me kind of uncomfortable. It came off as very rude. Now that one, it wasn't the rude thing. To me, it was more ignorance, and him just assuming, oh, it's not, the virus isn't real. And there are people, I think, believe that the virus is crap. It's like, and I don't mean crap as in, it's bad, it sucks, it ruins everything. I mean crap as in it's not real, and people are being paranoid. And it's like, no, it's real, and what do you want me to say, dude? Do you want me to say, yeah, you're right, we're in on it together? And it's like, no. And it's the other one. Now, the other incident was not about the pandemic, but it was just him noticing, observing something, and I was like, what do you want me to, how do you want me to, I didn't say this, but I was thinking, how do you want me to respond to it, dude? That's rude. And he even said, like, I looked at him as like, well, and I said something along the lines, well, I don't really think that, or I don't notice that. And he's like, oh, well, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, or being rude or anything. And it's like, and I'm just thinking, well, yeah, but you're coming off as rude. You may not be trying to, and that's the thing, people may not try to. That's the point of saying, I don't mean to be mean, is to be like, I'm not trying to be that way, but I know I am. Because there are things I admit there are things I've said where I know that they might come off rude to someone, or might come off as, implying something or hinting at something that I shouldn't. And I'm saying to make myself feel, I admit, I'm probably saying it just to make myself feel less guilty or a little bit better for the comment I made. I mean, I think that's the whole goal of someone saying, well, I don't mean to be this way, because you're trying to justify yourself. I mean, and I'm probably going to do that again, I just am more, try to be careful with the comments I make and not go too far with them. And luckily, I mostly talk to my close friends who understand and know I really genuinely don't mean anything by it. And if someone calls me out, I've said rude comments before and I've been called out by friends and, not in a really angry way, but just I'm pointing this out to you. And then I, realized, okay, well, I need to apologize because I didn't mean to hurt this person's feelings. It was never my intention. And, I want to apologize because I do like you as a person, because I know it wasn't right of me to say that. But unfortunately with this guy, I don't think he cared. Or he did care to an extent. Because he, like I said, he said, well, I'm not trying to be, and it's like, well, you come off that way. I feel like a lot of times, not all, but sometimes older people, like seniors, especially older men, they don't think about what they say anymore because they just probably don't care anymore because I'm too old to care. Now, not all, I don't think all older people, all seniors are like this, of course, but I think sometimes, they can be think that way. It's because they're from a different time and different era, so they don't always think about that now that things have changed, society has changed, and you can't say certain things, especially because we're even more sensitive than before, and a lot of times we're more courageous and willing to stand up and say and call people out and be like, I don't like this. I mean, there's a good and a bad to that. I feel like there's both pros and cons to how we are like that now. But anyway, so let's get back to the book. So like I said, my dad is gonna build a new shelf for me, and my mom said it will be a good project for him. Because I do believe, my mom told me, at first, one of her reluctances, two of her reluctant reasons why she didn't want me to get another shelf, she didn't want me to buy more books, but I think she's kind of resigned herself to that I have no self-control, and, I try to be better. I don't think I can go cold turkey, but I can try at least. Or at least, not go cold turkey, but just not resort to that. But the problem is there's not a lot for people, younger people, like 20s and 30s, to do around here, unless you have a family, and I don't have family. I'm still, I don't have kids. I'm not married, so, and I don't even have a boyfriend, which is fine, but it's just, it kind of, and I don't drive either. I probably will never drive, and that's because of, all my fine, gross motor issues and all that kind of stuff. I just say maybe someday, but although I find it really annoying when I talk to people about this and they're saying, oh, don't say that, you never know, you might learn. It's like, well, yeah, it's great that you think that, but you don't know, you're not in my body, you don't know how what I'm capable of. So, yeah, it's great to encourage people, but sometimes people know their own limits. And, yeah, I'm all for positive thinking, but I'm not gonna get all, hopeful. I don't want to get hopeful about the driving thing when it's probably not in the cards for me. I mean, maybe there's a small slither of a chance, but like you said, those people who, when I talk to them, they don't know they're not inside of my body, they don't know what I'm capable of physically, they don't know how I feel, and that's the problem. You can't ever know how someone feels. You can just be sympathetic to them. You can't. Sorry, like I said, it's early in the morning, so I still have some stuff in my eye. Early morning sleepiness. But yeah, you don't know, so you can't really tell someone. And that fly is still in here. I noticed that there was a fly last night. He was crawling my computer, and I don't want to, because he was on my computer. I didn't want to hit him, and besides, I'm not good at catching those. My dad's better than I am. But I just saw him fly by. But yeah, I feel like you can never really know. Yeah, you can be hopeful and kind about it and be and reassure the person. And I think sometimes it's okay. It's good to reassure and give a person confidence. But other times it's no, it's don't, because you're just going to give. And I think that's why some people get people that, you get frustrated with because they've given up. It's because they've resigned and they don't want to be hopeful. And it's just as frustrating for them as it is for you. But anyway, I keep getting off topic here, which I always do anyway, so I don't, But like I said, I'm gonna get a new bookshelf, and like I said, I feel like I have room, right around the corner from this bookshelf, the one I'm always filming in front of. I think I would like to do, I won't be able to, my new chair I won't be able to bring over there to film, but I can probably bring my desk chair, because it's a moving chair, so I could probably bring that over if I ever wanted to film in front of that, which when I get it, I probably will. I wish I could do a vlog so I could, show you guys, but I still don't know how to do it, and I would need someone to go over, and as I always say, my excuse is always the same. I need someone to do it with me, to go over it with me and work on learning how to do a vlog. Someone whose knows has some skills. I have 2 cousins that potentially are probably good at that. Maybe 3 that are really good at that. But it's not like they live near me or anything. I can't see them that often, so it's not like I can just invite them over. And they got lives too. They got jobs too. So even if they live nearby, it's. But anyway, so as you saw on the hopeful thumbnail, I am currently. Oh, and by the way, when I talk about that stuff, I'm not trying to brag that, I can afford to do this, or I can afford to live at a country club. I'm not trying, which I know I just talked about this and saying stuff like that, but, again, I don't mean to, brag and saying I'm just excited, in the whole living at a country club, I'm just saying, unfortunately, yeah, I'm lucky and privileged enough to live at home with my parents at a country club. But to be fair, it's not super fancy. It's not like a gated community. And again, yes, I'm privileged enough. I realize I'm privileged enough that my parents will buy me a new reading chair. But they still go for, they still are wary of prices and want to go for something cheap. They're not going to get me a $600 or $800 chair. They're going to go, like my mom was talking about, we're going to get, we'll look for a chair at the place where I got my chairs that I have in the living room. So, and then my dad's going to build the shelf. And plus, with the building of the shelf, that way we can stain it how we want. And I don't have to worry about spending, and my dad won't, the only money will be spending is on, wood and stuff. Which bookshelves apparently are pretty pricey. So, but I know I'm privileged, to be able to afford stuff like that. But although, there's some people that I, will buy 10, 20 books in one shopping trip. I'm like, how do you do that? Of course, then I realized they have office jobs which pay just a little bit more than working in a grocery store. Of course, but anyway, enough. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. I just wanted to, acknowledge that, yeah, I know I'm privileged and pretty lucky that I can do stuff like that, get a new reading chair, a nicer reading chair, and, I can get a bookshelf and everything. But anyway, So, like, as I was about to say before I remembered that, I am reading Tooth and Claw, which is a Pride and Prejudice retelling. I think I've already talked about this. I'm at the point where, okay, the Blessed Felt has proposed, and I'm guessing he's supposed to be Mr. Collins. I wasn't sure if he was Collins or Darcy, but I think he's supposed to be like the Mr. Collins character. And our two sisters, not Berend. Berend is the one who married that one dude who's a total ass. Hannah, and I don't know if I'm saying these. I've said this before, that I definitely get why people complain about names in fantasy books, because sometimes you don't know how to pronounce them unless you listen to the audiobook. And I don't even know this as an audiobook. But, Hannah is one of the sisters. She's living with their other sister and her husband. He's one, Davrak or Davrak. I don't know how to, but that's the guy who's kind of the jerk, kind of the asshole. And then, so her sister's gone to live with him. And then the one sister who got proposed to by the Blessed Thorelt, which I'm still trying to understand. There's this whole thing about, like, if a female dragon comes into contact with a man, like if he touches her or something, that she'll turn a shade of shade of blush coloring, and then I think that means like, oh, you're tainted now as a female dragon. You're tainted because you are this coloring now because you've been touched by a male dragon. I think that's what it is, because like the other sister. The other sister, sorry, I'm just looking at the other sister is, let me see her name. I mean, and the thing with this one is, it's not just a Pride and Prejudice retelling. From what I've read so far, it feels more like it beyond the Pride and Prejudice retelling, because like, there's like there's political stuff in it, dragon political politics in it, and it just also feels more like just a Jane Austen retelling of like all of her novels, with the way it's written and just she's very. It feels very like a Victorian novel, or not a Victorian. She's not Victorian. Jane Austen wasn't Victorian, but the time period that came before. I can't. It was Edwardian, the Edwardian period, maybe. I'll have to look that up. I can never remember what comes before Victorian. I'm trying to find the other sister's name. Berend is the one that gets married to Davrak. Who's kind of an asshole. I feel bad for her because Davrak is such a jerk, but she's his wife, so it's like she has to be obedient to him. Selendra. She's the one that got proposed to by the Blessed Felt, and like he came near her, so she quote unquote blushed. So it was like they assumed, so it was like it looks like she's tainted. And he didn't really do much of anything. I think he just kind of came near her or maybe touched her with his claw or whatever. But then their brother, was it Avan? I think one of the brothers I think it was Avan. Yeah, I think Avan, because I think there's only two brothers. There's Avan, and then there's who's the other brother? Avan and there's another brother. I can't remember his name. And Penn. Penn is the other brother. He's the one who's the priest. And then Avan. I don't know what he is, but I think he was the one who had the potion. I think that cured her of her blush, so it didn't show. Although I just remember where Evan has a little girlfriend, a lover, and she has been tainted, but not tainted enough that he can't take her as a lover. Like I said, I think it's Edwardian. It's kind of a copy of, but I think it's so cool, the idea of these taking in this story but putting dragons into the story, making it dragons. Although there's aspects of it, things that humans do, that is just weird thinking about dragons doing those things. But I still think it's a really cool one. I love this. Like I said, I love the fact that this is so adorable. It's just small, that mass market size, but it's a hardback, and it's a naked hardback with the, This is why I don't like, even though I do agree that dust jackets art can be very annoying. I prefer hardbacks that, have an image on them that you can see. Not just those ones where, oh, there's something on there, but I made the mistake to make it this color so you can't really see it unless you really look hard enough. But also, this is blurbed by Kelly Link, who I've read some of her work. And I was kind of confused by it. I almost feel like I need to give Kelly Link another shot. But anyway. But yeah, because on the back description it says, one daughter becomes involved in abolition. I think that's how you say it. Abolition. And then the other, an abolition movement, and then the other sacrifices herself for her husband. So one of the sisters does eventually get married. So I imagine Jo Walton started with Pride and Prejudice, but then added, a lot more, because it would be kind of boring if it was an exact copy of the original story. I was thinking about this when I was reading it, because I was like, oh, it doesn't really feel like Pride and Prejudice. I mean, yeah, there's some similarities, but then I was thinking, well, is that really fair of me to say? Because if you made a carbon copy of Pride and Prejudice, the Pride and Prejudice plot, then that would be boring. At least for me anyway, in my opinion. And it makes it even more interesting when it has all these other plot points, like political plot points and stuff like that. I think it makes it even more interesting. Although, Jane Austen's work does have that kind of stuff too. It just... But anyway, so, I'm also, the last couple days, I did ring Count of Monte Cristo in work, but I don't really have much to say about that. There's Villefort's daughter. Villefort being is the magistrate, one of the people that sent Edmund to the Chateau d'If for, unfair, accuse him of treason. But his daughter wants to marry Morel's son or grandson, and so I think the original Morel was older, like Edmund's boss I think he was an older man, or his captain or whatever. So I think this kid is would be the grandson, and he and Villefort's daughter Valentine want to get married. They're in love and stuff, but she's betrothed to Saint Epinay. She's betrothed to another guy. And so the two of them try to get together, but then are trying to run away together, but the girl's afraid to stand up to her family. So it's, and the grandmother just died, I believe. It was not too long after her grandfather had died too. And I don't know if I think the grandfather is the father of Villefort, and then the grandmother is Villefort's mother-in-law, so the mother of his wife, I think. And they both just died. And so they're trying to figure, although the doctor is starting to suspect that the grandmother might have been poisoned. And my first thought was that Valentine poisoned her to get out of this situation. Because he's not suggesting that specifically, but he's suggesting that it had to be someone in the family had to have done it. So I'm wondering if Valentine did that to get rid of her grandmother, because I think her grandmother was one of her obstacles to marrying Morel. Which I wonder if that would ruin their relationship, if I'm right. Like I said, I don't know if that's the case. But this is one of the longer chapters, and it's really annoying to read because it's taken so long to read it. But I'm also reading it during my breaks, and I only have 15-minute breaks, so it makes sense that it's taking me a while. So I need to read it this weekend, like one of the days this weekend, just get through that chapter and read in 2 more chapters ideally. So like I said, that's all I really have to say about this one. And then I also at some point need to get to the last tycoon. See, this is what I don't like. It's naked hardbacks that don't have anything on them. So I need to read The Last Tycoon, which was Fitzgerald's last novel. I keep going back and forth if I want to put this in the donation pile or not when I finish reading The Last Tycoon. But because it's his first novel, This Side of Paradise, and then his last novel, The Last Tycoon. So it's like part of me feels, oh, I should keep it because it's his first and last novel combined. But then at the same time, it's like, well, I didn't really absolutely love This Side of Paradise. And The Last Tycoon is incomplete. And I can't, they're together, so I would have to keep the whole book. I can't keep one without the other, so even if I love The Last Tycoon, that would mean I would have to keep This Side of Paradise, because it's one book. It's one book. So it's not like I can get rid of, I can't separate the stories. So I haven't started it yet, but I do feel like I need to read it. That way I can make a decision, but I don't know if I can, because like I said, but again, I will be very happy when I get the new bookshelf next year. That's what my mom said, because, it's Christmas, and so if family comes, it's going to be chaotic, and, if we're able to, if my sister feels comfortable enough. Because the plan is that they will come, they will come for Christmas, and we were thinking, oh, my grandma could come, but then my grandma's in that age group of people that can easily, she's in her 80s, so she's at risk. And we're not going to get the vaccine until next year, probably. Although my mom might get it. It will depend, though, if she's part of the group of people, part of the healthcare workers that could get it. But she might not be part of the group that's capable of it. That's allowed, that will be given, because they are restricting the first batch. Because, there's not that, I imagine it's because there's not a lot, and they want to take care of certain groups of people first, especially, healthcare workers that are on the front line, because they're the ones taking care of the people that are already sick. But anyway, so I'm saying this because I'm bringing this up because I'm probably not gonna get the new bookshelf until next year, and I don't know how long it's gonna take my dad to build it. And the same thing with the chair too. So I'm with this chair a little bit longer, which is fine. I need the reading chair. Both of them, and and Mom said she won't get rid of these chairs until I get a new one. So we're gonna, I'm still gonna have these chairs for this month for Christmas. So but I need to read The Last Tycoon, and then like I said, I don't know if I'll get rid of them or I'll get rid of this or not, because like I said, part of me feels like, oh, it's the last in this first novel, I should keep it, but then another part is like, yeah, but I didn't love This Side of Paradise, and then I don't know how I'm going to feel about The Last Tycoon, but if I don't love it, then I shouldn't feel obliged to keep it. I should think the Kumari method and be like, only keep the books that you love, you absolutely love, and I should get rid of it. I shouldn't make excuses. So last time, like I said, I'm not gonna continue with the Chalkman. I attempted to read the first couple pages, and at the moment, I'm just not interested. So it's still kind of saying here I haven't officially gotten rid of it yet. So who knows? I might change my mind in the next few days. But even if I put in the donation pile, that pile's not going anywhere anytime soon. Because, again, with the Black Castle Bookshop, you have to call 24 hours, and I have not called them to get rid of any more books. And I might wait until January to do that. Or wait until after Christmas to make a call and be like, I want to donate some books. I want to bring a bag over to donate some books. And either that, or I might just wait until I read a whole bunch of my books first. Read at least 5 of my books I have on the shelf, and then make a donation. That's what I need to try to do. Is make it, although my dad did ask, and I gotta admit, my first thought was, ooh, you can take me to Books A Million. But I probably don't need to be getting any more books. Although I'm gonna get, if I go to Books A Million, one of my purchases will be a gift for someone, a coworker actually, who's offered to get some of us, myself and some of the other coworkers that she's close with. And I feel so bad for her because she's worried because she wants to do this, but then she has to do discreetly because she's not going to give the whole everyone at the bookshop, not bookshop, everyone at the store, at our store, she's not going to give every single person a gift because she doesn't know, she's not friends with every one of the coworkers. So it's like she wants to only give a select few of us something. So, and I felt like, oh, I better get something because I didn't tell her, which I probably should have said something like this. Instead of been all selfish and childish and be like, ooh, I want this. Although I'm only asking for one thing, to be fair. But, she was like, so, but, I should have been like, I know I should have said, oh, no, you don't have to get me anything. Of course, when you do that, people always say, no, I want to, and it's just a whole back and forth thing. But I will get her something too. I don't know what, but I'm not gonna go crazy because, but just a little something. I'm gonna get her a little something, because she offered to get me something too. Okay, well, I guess that's it. That's all I gotta talk about. If you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification below if you want to be notified when I post new videos. And I hope you are wearing your mask when you go out and you're washing your hands. And you're staying 6 feet apart from people. And I hope you are doing alright and you are being kind to people. Alright, bye.